My name is Ryan Masterson, and I am the founder of Green Hat Web Solutions. And we do primarily WordPress design and development and SEO and marketing. And we do monthly meetups at the Commons. And actually, we're going to probably increase this now to twice a month. Just in this month, we did another presentation on Adobe Photoshop and then in April, we're going to do one on Adobe Illustrator. So the Commons just got 2 new computers in their office or out in the community area for anyone to take advantage of. And they have Adobe Creative Suite on there. And so if you want to create any Photoshop, if you need to use Photoshop or need to use Illustrator for anything and you don't have it on your own computer, you can go in and use that for free. Normally, we have like a great time with the in-person meetings at the Commons. This is the first time we're doing it online, but it actually is something that I was wanting to do anyway. So is to try to get more online events. And so, yes, Celeste.
Can I also do like work on those computers to make videos and things as well as Adobe and stuff for that, or is that a different type of system?
Yes.
And can I use those computers to do that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question because yes, they would love if you took advantage of that, and yes, you can because it also has Adobe Premiere installed on them, and then even in Photoshop you can do some video stuff too, actually. But yeah, definitely. So
awesome.
Yep.
I'm thinking about making more virtual classes and stuff like that. Mostly because not only just, I was also thinking about doing this before the whole virus thing came about, but now it's like, oh, now I really should get on that. And I don't have access to those things to edit videos and stuff. So thanks for that resource.
Yep. Yes, you're welcome. Yeah. I'm not as experienced in video, so I personally won't be leading a meetup on that, but there are other people who might be there at the Commons, and so.
Okay, that's fine. I did some of that stuff in college, so I'm pretty well-rounded for that part. Great. I just need access to the stuff to do it.
Okay, great. Yeah, so my actual focus at Green Hat is user interface and user experience, and so I will be upfront that PPC is not my main focus here at Green Hat. So I do look forward and I invite any comments as we go to, if anyone wants to share some of their experiences. And yeah, I do enjoy learning languages as a hobby. So if any of you speak Turkish or Portuguese or Greek, let me know. All of these slides are available, or at least if they're not up yet, they will be by the end of this presentation at this link here. Okay, so I've done this PPC event at the Commons last year, and so normally we kind of went around and we talked a little bit about who has done PPC and who has not. So if anyone would like to share at all, just real quick, like what their experience is in PPC, if any, or maybe what they're trying to gain at this, I welcome you to mention that, or we can just go on. Okay, we will just go on.
This is
sure.
Joel. Yeah, I'm just really looking to pick up some tips and hacks just to set up some basic branded search, paid search campaigns.
Great. Okay. Yes. Good. All right. So just from a very basic level, I just want to say real quick that the PPC stands for pay-per-click. I believe probably all of you know that, but just in case not, when you do a search in Google, there will be the first few results are often ads, or they can be ads, and if they are ads, they're usually mentioned as ads. They have like some sort of little disclaimer that says they're an ad, and so but PPC can be used not only in search results too, but PPC is also used for like in video games. Maybe if you're playing a video game and they try to get you to click on an app to download a new app, you can do that. That PPC campaigns are ran there as well. So PPC campaigns are ran on websites as well too, where just in the sidebar, I think probably no questions about that. So I put a copy of this lawyer's ad in here, only just to say that PPC is also can be a very, very expensive business. From my understanding, lawyers pay some of the highest, or okay, for depending on what type it is, but on some of their ads can be like $100 a click. And so, you know, they do that though because the results pay off for them. So obviously the goal is to generate more sales than the cost per click. What we're going to do today, we're going to look at, I have some slides to show you of what we're doing exactly for ourselves here. Just in the meantime, I just want to mention that there is a difference between Google Display and Google Search. And so the search is when like you do a keyword, when you're in google.com and you do a search for a keyword, and on the SERP page, the search engine result page, those ads that appear at the top, that's where the search PPC appears. But there's also a thing called the display network, and that's kind of a broader thing that includes like what I was saying, like the video games on other people's websites. And the conversion rates and the average cost per clicks are all higher for search than they are for the display network. I want to mention a few important terms before we get deep into some stuff. So the daily budget is how much you can control, how much you spend, and you have like a daily budget, and you can. So when you're planning your expenses for this, you can think about also the daily budget and the bid. And the bid is like the maximum amount that you were willing to have someone pay when they click on your ad. And the quality score, now this is going to be something that we'll talk a lot about because this is something that's very important. The quality score is something that can lower the costs of your clicks when the quality score is higher. And we'll talk about some of the factors that create a higher quality score and what factors create a lower quality score and why that's important. So let's see, I think that I would just skip this to make sure I have time to show you some other stuff here. So there are several, okay, so this campaign, what we're talking about here today is PPC in general. And now this can be applied to Google Ads specifically. And in fact, a lot of what we talk about today is using Google Ads as an example and is showing screenshots of Google Ads. But actually this knowledge that we're talking about here today can be applied to any campaign out there, any platform like LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, others, Instagram, other social media accounts, and it could also obviously be applied to like Bing and everything. I wonder if anyone is planning on ads on some other platforms besides just Google. Give me a shout. I'd be curious to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Good. Okay, so real quick here, now there are, just like, for example, in Google Ads, when you are, let me open my chat box here. Let me see here. When you are choosing your campaign type, there's just a few options that you'll have. One can be to search. One can be, and that's where we talked, actually we did talk about this already, the difference between search and display. Shopping and video are two other options that you can choose. And so, see, for some reason, I'm not seeing my chat box. I don't know why, but it's not showing that, but I'll just keep going. So maybe if I saw a notification, there's a chat, but for some reason, I'm not seeing the chat box in my window. So I'll just keep going. Okay, so what we're going to do is, okay, I want to talk about real quick about location. So this is something that you can be very detailed on. It's possible to limit your location to just a specific zip code, or to maybe include like a whole range like Denver, but exclude certain zip codes. And so this is something that you'll want to think about when that really makes a difference on whether you are doing whether you're trying to sell stuff that is in person or like a service, or whether you are trying to, or whether your service can be rent online. So if you are selling something that requires like someone to see you in person or at your physical location, you need to just be really careful, obviously, to choose that location carefully, because you don't want to be paying for ads that are in locations that are not applicable to your option. So here's actually something nice I wanted to mention too about the bidding. So if this is actually for something that people who are interested in getting more advanced on this. So if you want to figure out your cost per click and that you are really good at, and you know really well some of the numbers that your business has, we can take a look at this. So this is a calculator here that basically what it does is it takes the max cost per click. It helps you figure this out. What is the maximum? It's like, what's the maximum cost that you're willing to pay for someone to click on your ad? If you want to actually calculate this out, this is some calculation that I found, though I didn't create myself. But basically what it does is let me open this up here for you. And again, I'll share these slides with you later. But what you can do is, if you know some of these things like your net sales and your net income, this is just some example information here, and the profit margin ratio, as well as the average cost per customer, you can actually find your cost per click, like the maximum that you'd want to pay here, by plugging in these numbers. All you have to do is plug in these numbers here, and then this sheet will calculate it for you. So this is just an optional thing for someone who wants to take that extra step. Okay. All right. One thing that Google Ads in particular offers that is really cool are called ad extensions. And so I want to take a little brief moment to talk about some of these. So these things here that I have highlighted in red, these are called ad extensions. They are not available for everyone by default. Like you have to maybe enter in this information, or you have to have some schema markup on your website. So this is what you can do. So these are called, this box down here are called site link extensions. Like in the ads itself, it has the opportunity to put even links even down further into your site on specific things. So if someone was doing a search for like red shoes or Adidas shoes, then in this particular ad here, they also offer these additional site link extensions. And it's a nice feature for if you want to. One thing that's nice about this actually is that it increases your overall real estate. Like, look how big this Adidas ad is now, exactly just because they added in these site link extensions. And so this is available to you, but sometimes it's not necessary if you don't have a need for it, like for these particular ones, the site link extensions. Like if you're having just one landing page, this may not be applicable for you. You can also have review extensions. So this is an example of a review extension. You can also have your phone number appear in a certain way. So there are some options, and these are called ad extensions. Okay, so for the key, okay, now we're going to get into keywords here. And this is actually where we really start getting into some fun stuff with Google Ads and with any PPC campaign, is we need to figure out what our keywords are. And I'm going to take you through a detailed example of how you can do some keyword research, because this is so important. So Google Keyword Planner is one tool that you can use for this service, where basically what you do is you type in a few keywords that maybe relate to your business, or you can even put just a link to your website, and it'll auto-suggest many, many others. And it will rank them by monthly volume, the competitiveness, and minimum and maximum bid or average cost for that click. And so in order to create a successful PPC campaign, you will definitely need to be very good in your keyword research. A lot of it starts right here. And I'm going to walk through a full example of kind of some keyword research that we did recently, just to kind of walk you through what we did. Okay, so there are four main types of keyword matches. So one's called broad, phrase, exact, and negative. A broad keyword match it will show results. So when anyone types, like in the example here, the example is just red shoes, and that's unqualified. So that's a broad keyword because what that means is it will show results for anyone who has the word red in their search and shoes. So it could be like red running shoes or shoes red or red women's shoes. You know, all of that, that's a broad keyword match. A phrase match is that it has to have just that word red shoes, but it could also include other words in it as well too. So you say men's red shoes, but the difference between broad and phrase is that in broad, it can have any of those words in any order. In phrase, it has to have that phrase, but it can also have in that order too, but it can also have other words included in the keyword search. Men's red shoes, for example, it would be a phrase match, or red shoes for running. An exact match means that it's only going to show for ads that have that exact phrase in there, no extra keywords in it at all. So that's the difference between that and the phrase, because phrase, you use that exact match, but it also has other keywords, whereas exact match does not have other keywords. It's only what you did. So if you were running a PPC campaign for red shoes and you had it as an exact match, it's only going to show your ad if someone types in red shoes, and it will not show your ad if someone types in men's red shoes. Now, this is all those first three are kind of common, and people might not be too surprised to hear about that and might not think much about it. But this last one here is definitely something that I really want you to pay attention to. A negative match keyword is very cool. And I really recommend you think about what negative match keywords are for you. A negative match is something that you want to be excluded from the results when someone searches by keyword. So for example, let's say you had red shoes, but let's say that you only had men's red shoes and you didn't have women's, but yet you also wanted it to be open for people to search by red running shoes or men's children's shoes or something like that, red business shoes, but you didn't want the word women's in here. Negative keywords is where you should use this. Now, this is something that I really recommend people use because on almost every situation where you're creating a PPC campaign, there are some keywords that people may use that don't really apply to your business. Like, for example, let's see if I can think of a quick example here. I have one member here who offers services as a doula, and I'm thinking trying to think of like an example of like a good negative keyword might be for doula, but maybe if it would be something for like selling doula products or childbirthing products or something, but maybe you don't want that, but it's like maybe the word products would be like a negative keyword, even though childbirthing and consulting and that sort of training and coaching would be applicable. So it really kind of depends on what your approach is for business, but negative keywords actually is a cool opportunity to explore. Okay, so writing your ads is important because it directly impacts the quality of your ad, directly impacts your quality score, and your quality score directly impacts the costs of the expenses and how much you're paying for your click. So a few tips for writing a good ad is that you want to include the key phrase in your headline. Now, obviously, the headline is going to be in a bigger, bolder, sometimes a different color font. Excuse me. So you'll want to include that key phrase in the headline. And in fact, actually, one strategy that we used that I'll show you here in a little bit is we used an exact match campaign where we made every different ad have the exact keyword that the person searched in the ad. So we created as many different ads for those keywords, and we'll get into that here in just a second. So you'll also want to include a call to action. Now, studies have shown that if you invite or if you ask a user to perform a certain action, they are a little bit more likely to do that. And maybe not significantly, but I do recommend, like on your website, on your ads, tell them what you want them to do. Help it make it easier for them. People these days are overburdened with decision overload. They have too many decisions to make in their lives. And anything you can do to help make their lives easier, including just simply navigating on your website and telling them where to go, telling them what to click on or what to do, is actually, if it's done well, and if there's not too many options, it actually facilitates that conversion process. So I do recommend that. You can highlight the advantages, obviously, that you offer, and you can explore. You can include capital letters but you can't use all uppercase, at least in Google Ads. So you can't use words of all uppercase because they consider that trying to steal too much attention from the user. Okay, so this here is like a little bit of an example of the template of an ad and how this will your different options. So for example, in your headline 1, because the way it works for Google Ads at least, is that you can have actually up to 3 headlines. Headline 1, headline 2, and headline 3. This might be an old screenshot here. The descriptions, several descriptions. And so for the headline 1, it's usually, for Google Ads at least, it's limited to 30 characters. And then there'll be like a pipe. And then you can have headline 2. And the headline 3 is used when the screen size is big enough, but it's not always used. So don't put essential information in your headline 3 because it's not shown in all devices. It depends on where it is shown. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some examples here of what we are doing, and I want to show you. So, all right, we recently, let's see here, open up. Okay, gotcha. All right, so originally, okay, so for keyword reporting, so now I'm going to get into some real detail here about keyword research. And I'm going to talk about how you can find the best keywords for your business. And then I'm going to take you through a step-by-step example about how we figure out the keywords for us. So just recently, we decided to launch a brand marketing campaign, where what that means is we're trying to help companies identify their brand based on their business's personality. So just as individuals have a personality, so do businesses. So just as, for example, every individual has a different personality, and you can know more about yourself, and you can do better in communicating yourself to others. When you know about yourself, you can know what makes you you, what your kind of unique characteristics are, and how you relate to other people, how you relate in ways that are, or which type of people maybe, in which circumstances you relate better at than others. So in the same way that this is true with an individual, this is also true with the business. And in fact, last month we gave a presentation on how to do brand marketing and how to identify your brand, and it was really good. We had really good feedback from it. It was really nice. And so now we're also getting ready to do some PPC for that, to actually offer this through our services. And so here is actually one exercise you could do when you are thinking about your brand, or your keyword, sorry. So first of all, what we do, like in this middle column here for service, this is actually what we do, just different ways of calling it. And you can actually manually just think through that and make that list applicable to you. So you have brand, branding, brand marketing, brand and marketing, brand design, brand develop, and so on. These are all different ways then to describe what the service is that different people may use. Even some people might use rebrand word, rebranding, all that. Now in this left column here for adjectives, we also we wanted to find some adjectives that people might use to find us. So, and then best, and actually maybe I should say actually too, before I talk about column A, maybe I should tell you what column C is, the buyer intent signal. This is very important. when you are thinking of your keywords, you always need to be thinking about buyer intent. This is very important. In fact, this is even more important than using negative keywords, as I would say. So if you ran some PPC ads for just brand or branding or brand marketing, any one of these in column B, this is what we do. Like in column B, this is exactly what we do. But there's a problem. If we ran PPC campaigns just for these and nothing else, we would be paying perhaps for a lot of clicks for people who are just looking for information about how to do branding. Like, for example, these are very generic just by themselves. Yes, brand marketing is what we do, but I don't want to pay for a keyword that is just for brand marketing. I don't want to pay a click. I don't want to pay for a click for a keyword that's just brand marketing. Because if someone types in the word just brand marketing, they're possibly just looking for just some Wikipedia page about how to do brand marketing. Or maybe they are looking for like a step-by-step tutorial on how to do it themselves. You know, it has low buyer intent. And this is really important. When you're thinking about your keywords, you need to think about what you do, what your service is, which is represented here in column B, and then also the buyer intent signal, which is represented in column C here. So, and it may be different for everyone, but for us, the buyer intent signal is that it's someone looking for a business or a service that does brand marketing. So this is really important because our service is brand marketing. Our buyer intent signal, though, is a business. So, and then now coming back here to the adjectives, so now this kind of makes sense. So we could also use, so basically we can use like any combination of this. So I could maybe say top brand marketing business. You know, that right there is maybe an exact keyword match right there, maybe that I want to bid for. Top brand marketing business, maybe all that together. Or instead of business, I could do top brand marketing service. So like right here, I could kind of mix and match these columns and create a whole list. So I wanted to walk you through that, like that manual process of thinking about keyword suggestions, because it's just so important. Now, some of these tools like the keyword planner tool, it will help you do this work for you. But I just wanted to make sure that you kind of really understood what these variations even mean and how to do it manually. So, okay, if you do use one of those keyword research tools like the keyword planner, what it'll do is it basically give you a report somewhat like this. It'll give you like all these different combinations: best branding strategies, best rebranding campaigns, best brand identity strategy, brand my business, renaming a company. And then it'll usually give you like average monthly searches that keyword has. And it'll give you like the competition. So this could range from 300 or 30. Depending on the keyword you're looking at, you could find some that are, in the hundreds of thousands, even millions. But obviously then that will change the competition. So then you have like different things it'll give you, some of these tools will give you insights on how competitive a keyword is. It will even give you like an index value of that competition. And it'll even give you some options about what the average cost is to be at the top of the page, and for the low range, and what the high range is to be on the top of the page, and so that you can make your calculations different or appropriately. So this is kind of usually what you get when you get like a lot of keywords, or when you use one of those keyword planners tools, and it's great, but you still have more work to do. So this next slide here, this next tab represents the work we did. And here is kind of, I just really enjoy this. This is where I really kind of get down to the details. And this is applicable for all of you. So what I did here is, first of all, so I did some really heavy research into this. And this kind of represents like the work that I did for my own company here. So what I did here is, first of all, I took all the keywords and all these the monthly searches, competitions, everything. And then I put some filters by it and some sorting. So first of all, what I did, just to let me show you here, I'm gonna sort this by A through Z. So for all of these keywords that have a very low monthly search here, and for me, I consider anything below like 100 per month as a very low, I marked it in red. So here, my average monthly searches, these keywords all had less than 100 average monthly searches. I marked in yellow or orange, anything between like 100 and 500. And then anything above 500, I marked in green. So if we were just looking at just average monthly searches, this right here automatically, all these ones here in green, I know now that I might be interested in some of these right here. Maybe in some orange, and I should probably just stay away from these in red because it's just not worth it. And then the same thing with competition. So what I sorted this by competition. And when the low competition, I put as green. Now, mind you, I guess that basically some of these low, even though there's red monthly searches, that's fine. We'll get to that later, but I'm just separating this out, kind of one column at a time. So I separated in between low, medium, and high. So my low competitions, my medium competitions, and then my high competitions at the top. And with high and red too, and then I might want to avoid those. So then I did the same thing here with the top of page bid, where I ranked that as well. So I have my greens, my orange, and red, where it starts in the range where I need to be careful about the cost, or I just need to be aware that, hey, this keyword is expensive. I just need to be aware of that. Maybe I'll still do that, but I need to be aware of this. And so this is really good exercise. This chart is available for anyone to look at. So anyone who has this link can look at it as well too. Now here's what I did as well. This is actually one of the kind of time consuming, but so worth it. What I did, I went through all of these keyword suggestions and I searched by the buyer intent, and I labeled them, I didn't search by the buyer intent. I classified them as the buyer intent. So I created this column myself. Column B here, this does not come in any keyword planner tool that you use on any of them. This is something that if you want to do, you have to do yourself. And this is what I did. I created this new column. This is the buyer intent column for me. So I went through every one of these keywords and I marked the ones that I thought had the highest buyer intent for me. So, and I already explained what my buyer intent was. For me, it's when someone's looking for a company that does branding, not just about branding. So branding company, rebrand consultancy, rebranding your small business. Actually, you know what? I think that as I'm saying here in this live, I actually realized that should be a 2 and not really a 1. I don't really like that as a 1 because that buyer intent is not as strong as someone who's looking for an expert. So here, rebranding experts, brand building agency. These here have very high buyer intent. Now, let me see. Okay, number 2 here, these have a lower buyer intent because this is just about kind of general, brand design business, business brand design, branding and design, global brand strategy. Why do they have a lower buyer intent? It's because that these are kind of more looking for maybe a Wikipedia type page or some tutorial to do this. So I don't know, it does relate to exactly what we do, yes, but it doesn't have a high buyer intent. Which means that it's not really maybe looking for an agency like me who's going to provide this service for them. If I go down here to my 3s now, so here I have a digital agency. It's neither about brand marketing specifically, nor is it about a company. We're looking for how do I grow my business? Again, way broad. Web development, Denver. Yes, web developers do brand marketing. We do web development. Yes, all that. But I don't want to be using my campaign for brand marketing to pay for clicks for someone looking for web development Denver. I don't need that there. If I do want to get traffic for web development Denver, I need to create a different landing page for that and a different set of ads. I don't want to use my brand marketing ads for that. So you can see here in column 3, my company logo, best way to grow a business, online branding. These are way too broad. They don't have buyer intent, and some of them aren't even really specifically about or brand marketing specifically. So these are labeled 3. Now what I did is, now with all this information here, I can actually filter these columns here in a way that makes the best sense to find the best ones for me. So what I did, for example, for the average monthly searches here, let's kind of go back to this one. I want to find, I want to get, let me filter this from Z to A here. I want to look for the stuff that has the highest, some of the highest monthly searches. And I want to, okay, so here, unfortunately, the formatting of this got a little weird. Some of these they're being tracked as like a different type of a format. So here are some of my like highest average searches. I want to look for, and then I would look across now. Okay, now that I ordered these, I want to look out of these ones. I want to see which one had a medium competition or even low competition. And I want to see which ones had a low or medium top of page bid average. And I want to stay away from the ones that don't. So, for example, digital agency is a low buyer intent. I don't want that. No. In fact, even to make my life easier here, why don't we do this? Why don't I just even hide? This is kind of turning into a little webinar on using Google spreadsheets, but that's okay because it's powerful stuff. So I'm just hide the buyer intents of 3. I don't even want to consider them in what I'm looking at here. So now what I can do here is, what I really want to focus on here is what has like the high, okay, now that I ordered by average monthly searches, I also want to order by buyer intent. So now we kind of have things a little bit more organized. It's kind of, first of all, it's organized by buyer intent, but then secondly, by average monthly searches. So, okay, and now here we're getting like really, this is basically like good stuff. I mean, this now, I'm now finding out which keywords I want. So I highlighted the ones in yellow here, the keywords that I really wanted to focus on. So, for example, a branding agency, very high buyer intent, very high average monthly searches. The competition is only medium, and the cost for the top of page is doable, medium as well. Awesome. This is my keyword. I want to go with that one. Branding services, buyer intent, very high, high average monthly searches, low competition, and very affordable top of page bid. I want to do that one too. So these ones too, brand marketing companies. Look at this one. So brand marketing company, it's the buyer intent is right on. It's a 1. It's very good. I definitely want that stuff. I mean, it's very high buyer intent that I want for my business. But I noticed that, boy, these particular ads can get kind of expensive. I wouldn't have noticed, I wouldn't have known all this if I wouldn't have done this research. So this research allows me to save money and because it allows me to kind of focus in on the ones that have the highest bias intent, the lowest competition, and the lowest cost, the average cost. And so anyway, I went through these, I made some tracks, or I made some marks here in yellow, the ones that just really stood out to me. So these ones in yellow, like the ones I didn't highlight in yellow in this example, it's just because like they got kind of expensive. Some of these costs, these average costs here. Now I might be willing to pay for them once in a while, but you know, to start out with this campaign, these ones. So these ones here in yellow, ultimately at the end of the day, is what we went forward with. All right, now I am done here talking about my keyword research. That was lengthy, but I think it was very valuable. So
this is Joel. Really like this format. This is really helpful to figure out basically where the sweet spot is to start. Because once you start and can test and learn, it's just, you know, at least you'll kind of get moving and know what to test and learn versus being overwhelmed by all the data.
That's right. That's right. Because you can be overwhelmed by all the data very easily because the keyword suggestion tools can certainly do a good job of suggesting lots of stuff for you. But everything that they suggest is not what you want to be paying for. Yeah. Thank you for that comment. Okay, so let's see here. Connect. There's a few things here I'm skipping just for sake of time. Apologize about that. Now I want to talk about the quality score. So the quality score is really important because the higher quality score you have, the lower your cost is per click. So, and there are several things that, affect your quality score. For example, if you have like you can just see here, maybe in this example, and maybe this isn't actually a really good example here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. In the quality score here, you can see like the cost, the ad rank goes up, and then the actual cost per click goes down. So this is just like some example here from wordstream.com. And basically the quality score is going to make the ad rank go up, the cost per click go down, and I'll tell you some things to help the quality score too. So the quality score is determined by 3 different things. And the quality score is actually your friend. Like, it's good that they're giving you some sort of quality score, and you do want to pay attention to it, even if it didn't change the price of the click. You should still pay attention to this, because basically by the quality score, it will help you convert people who click on your ad. And the reason why is this, is because, well, one is, let me go through these and I'll tell you a little bit why. One, the 3 factors are, it's going to measure, the quality score is kind of determine like how the click-through rate is, like how many impressions Google or whatever is showing your ad and how many people click on that. The more, the higher the click-through rate is, the higher the quality score is, because it means that you've written a quality ad that their Google's customers are appreciating and relating to and understanding. The ad relevance now is like has to do with how, like, if the keywords that they used are in the ad itself. That's an important one that we're going to talk about here too coming up. And then here's something that a lot of people just don't think about that we just have to stress here. The quality of the landing page is also, is actually, that's considered, that's taken into account when your quality score is determined. If your landing page is not really good, that will actually make your cost per clicks go up. I think this may be a surprise to some people. They may not realize that the landing page actually influences the cost of the clicks, because, you know, it's a totally different thing, right? You know, one thing's the ad that you're paying for clicks, and one thing's actually landing page, but actually they do make a difference. They do relate to each other. The quality of the landing page impacts your quality score. And one of the things for the landing page here is, I wonder if I had, okay, let me jump here to, okay, so I want to talk about the quality score here. And I'm going to take a little bit to kind of jump back into our personal example of this, to give you just a real life example of stuff that we're thinking through. And because I think this is important to know. So one thing that okay, so right, so for the, excuse me, so there's just there's so much good stuff I want to share. Now we're really on a roll here. So all right, when you figure out your keywords, which we just looked at extensively, now we want to start writing ads. And when you write ads, I recommend writing them to the keywords, because you want your ads to have the same keywords. Like, you don't have to do this. The keywords you could be bidding on could be, you know, the one list or whatever. And your ad, they never even have to mention the keyword, but they should, though, to get the quality score increased. And why? Why is it important? Because, and actually they should, because they should kind of, if you put that keyword in with your ad, it resonates with that person. For example, let me just go back to our example here and talk about this. Here, okay, so branding agency, branding service, and branding firm, and branding company, for example, like that may all be, yes, there are synonyms. Yes, there are synonyms. But if someone did a keyword search for branding agency, and I wrote branding services or branding firm or branding company in the ad, you know, that would work. They'd probably understand the synonym. Yes, I agree. But there is an opportunity for you to use the same keyword in your ad to just create that resonance. I mean, like, people like, I search for branding agency, and here's an ad for branding agency. Now that's cool, because this creates this energy. And then in the description, you notice how I said that creates this energy. Maybe that's kind of a comment that is like getting more into woohoo stuff, whatever, but they create, the people relate to this, and it matches what they're looking for. And then on the ad itself, or on the landing page itself, you can do that. So, so what you can do, what this basically means here, this ad is like, structure your ad groups that kind of go into smaller targeted things, like that are kind of like, as much as possible, make your ads include the same keywords that you're bidding on, because that just and then you can create them into different ad groups like that. It might help people, it can increase your quality score, and it might help people convert more on that too. This basically also is kind of the same way of just saying that, I guess, what I just said, that you didn't want to include those keywords in the ad descriptions. And then you want to optimize your landing page to include those as well. All right, so now, for example, here in this tab here, so now is when we started writing the ads. So this here gives another example of like real life use case here. This is what we did. So our campaign name is brand marketing. And this is all of it right here, okay? We picked out of from this tab here of like the ones highlighted in yellow here. So we just started out with just 9 keywords. We just started out with 9 keywords. And then we're creating 3 variations of each keyword. So in fact, let me actually, I can even, just to make this a little bit easier to read, let me remove this variation, or just to show one variation at a time. Okay, so the keyword is this: best branding companies, brand building agency, brand design company, brand development companies. This is, and we, in this particular case, we created a separate ad group for each keyword, and we're going to do this in an exact match. So this is just a decision that we made to do. You don't always have to do exact match, but we did this, and you don't always have to have a separate ad group per keyword, but we did this too, because the strategy that, because we actually are, because we wanted to write ads for all these different keywords, and we're going to do exact match on that. So look at the headline 1 is an exact match of what they searched for. So the keyword here in this example is best branding company. That's an exact match of that keyword, best branding company. And then the headline 2, that is not an exact match. That's something that we wanted to say. We're the best in class brand marketing agency. We're a certified culture talk partner. Remember an important thing, heading 3 does not always show, or headline 3 does not always show. So that should not include critical information in there. And then I can write the description about it. Your organization has a personality and values. Get a free estimate on how to create and accurately market your brand. And then you can put the path and the final URL. So let me kind of explain here. So now let me show some of these variations here. Okay. All right. Okay, so for each keyword, so again here, I want to just point out that this is like, for each keyword, we created, well, we're doing exact match campaigns, ads. And for each keyword, we're doing 3 variations of that ad. So in all 3, the very first headline is exactly what they searched for. So you don't have to do this, but again, like what I'm just saying is like this continuity between like what they search for and what they see in your ad, and then what they see in your landing page is all so very important. This will help increase your quality score. And so that's what we did. Now, actually, let me show you here. I can even show you an example of our website here that we did this on. So this is actually the page that we created. We created this landing page for our business for rebranding. And this one is, we built this page just for our landing page purposes. And so it loads in with all of this information here. It talks about how we do, we're a certified partner in the rebranding system. And there are some things I have to fix on it here. It's not quite done with some alignment stuff. We talked about some recent projects, some testimonials for us, and then we have like a contact form for people to fill it out. And so what we did here is, so we created this branding page, and like now in this particular one, this one is called rebranding project, rebranding. So if you have the opportunity you could actually even create 2 different landing pages or more to, again, match those keywords. Because some people search for rebranding, other people search for just branding. And so we actually created 2 examples. In fact, actually, I realize as I'm telling you this now, actually this page here that I have loaded here in my browser window, that's actually not the one we were started, that's not the one that we actually started running the campaign for. It was actually brand marketing experts. Got confused here. So now you'll see in this one that, sorry, my connection here is a little bit slow in this particular case. So I changed this now. We have it's brand marketing instead of rebranding. So we actually changed that word. So we're actually going to create multiple landing pages, and we're going to do this more and more. We're going to create multiple landing pages that are basically, it's a copy and paste of the same page. I mean, a lot of the page is all the same, but we've just kind of gone back then and modified some of the language to match the different keywords. So this is another strategy you can use. Just clone your landing pages and then send ads that go right to that.
And then I had a quick question on multiple landing pages. So love the fact that you're doing landing pages and doing them easily. Do you have a no follow link on this landing page?
Yep.
You don't have duplicate content?
That's a great question. Yes, you should. That's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that. So especially, it may not be on, I don't think it's on this one, but it is on the other one here. Like of every clone that we did, yes, we put a no follow link on that so that, or actually, you know what? Sorry. Although no follow is true, yes, actually it's no index. That's even more important that you should have. And like you can have it be you can still have it be a follow, but it's the index part that you don't want it to do. So yes, it does have a no index on it because we don't want Google to find all these clones that we have, all these duplicate pages, and then penalize us for having lots of duplicate content.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so the other thing too, the last thing here about the last thing about affecting your quality score is the page speed. So when we first launched this page, we actually realized after we forgot to optimize some images, and it was getting a very low quality score. And one of the reasons for that is because the images on this page were very high. There were some really big images that we forgot to optimize. And so I mention this because, again, it's just like one of those things where people just don't realize it, but like the quality of your landing page actually impacts how much cost you pay in your ads. And one way to reduce this is to make sure your website loads really fast and is light. Now, actually, I do honestly believe that I could improve this, that we should improve our own page. As you probably saw, there were some times where it was loading, the user experience wasn't great when it was loading so slow, so I have to look into that. But hey, there you go. This is like a real live, example, and you can see everything, the goods and the bad stuff all kind of right here. But basically what we need to do, we need to kind of make this optimize this page a little bit better so that it fixes some alignment things that I saw, and also so that it loads a little bit faster. Maybe remove some pictures on there or make them quicker. So that will influence that. All right. So you can also do A/B testing. This is actually for like another presentation that we'll have to do later on all the different ways you can do some A/B testing, but that is possible. And I don't have time to get into that right now. But there are lots of different ways. You can also improve some of the click-through ideas. So this is just like a list of some things. One thing we talked about is like the display URL, the third one, for example. Like you can actually change the URL to be something a little bit different than the actual URL that it really is. So your display, this is especially useful if you have a really large site and the landing page that you created is like buried deep in like some URL structure where it's like, yourwebsite.com/category/health/vitamins. And like, that's like the full URL. And the display URL, what you display in your ad, it could just be yoursite.com/vitamin C. And it makes people think, wow, this page is just focused on my keyword. Again, you're kind of just reinforcing this idea that you hear these keywords and that you're applying your information right to them. Okay, so here in this slideshow here, there are some resources here about from some further ads, how you can do that. And then lastly, I'll just mention that Google Ads is a business. So although you can't call them to ask about why your website is ranking and how to rank better, because they won't answer that, because that's not part of, they're not making money on that, but they are making money on their ads. So they do have a support line that you can call them and they can help you with questions like that. And here is the link to get the slides again. That was my presentation. So do you have any questions or comments?
My comment would be thank you for the slides, first off. And yeah, I got a lot of information on keywords, and honestly, I'm thinking that some of the keywords that we've gone over for my personal practice I don't even think they truly reflect like what I'm offering, now. So it's like really giving me new ideas of what my keywords should actually be. So yeah.
Yes. Good. I'm glad you could see this in this this big walkthrough, because yes, you're right. That is something that we should do and look at for you. Yeah.
Hey, it's Joel. Thanks so much again for the slides, and I like the real life example. That was really helpful, especially in looking at the Google sheet. That kind of made it real for me.
Good. Well, yeah. Well, thank you, Joel, very much for coming. I hope to see you maybe online, or at least in some other or at the person meetups later as well.
That sounds good. And then I just tried the slides, and it didn't send these slides. It seemed to download this culture.
Sorry, that was for our last one. Yeah, let me actually send it to you. Unfortunately, my team didn't get that updated. I apologize. Let me, if you want, you can send me an email. Here, let me show you my email, like ryan@greenhatwebs.com, and I can email them to you right away.
That sounds perfect. I will shoot you an email, and I look forward to staying in touch.
Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Joel, and thank you, Celeste. And Celeste, we'll talk again soon here.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks. Bye.